I've had these questions moving through my mind over the last year and a half, which is how much am I actually leaning on perfectionism? What is mastery, and how can I really enjoy this process? And to give you a little bit of context, for those of you who haven't been with me, over the last year and a half or so, I left startup tech world and I decided to go full-time coaching. It's something I had spent years doing internally, but I really wanted more. And I had the opportunity where I could take that. And what I've realized is a few things that I just want to cover in terms of the context. So one, perfectionism, right? We have this really high standard that something should be perfect. I think we can all agree perfection is an illusion. It's probably a grasp for some kind of control. But what I also realized is that my tendency towards perfectionism, it's really reinforced in our education systems, our grading systems, how that works, but also working in startups, when we think about high quality output, which is, I would say, fetishized productivity, super fetishized in the cultures a lot of the time, unintentionally, but they're there. It leads to perfectionism tendencies. So it's always like, I want it to be better. I want to go more, or I want it to be more. So we've got this growth mindset of always looking for improvement, but we're also coming from this place of it's never enough. Double-edged sword. But I think that perfectionism is such a key piece to talk about because it shows up for us a lot of the time, I think at an unconscious level, and it really plays a big role in how we feel about our work, how we feel about our lives. And so that question of how much am I leaning on perfectionism has been a constant question I've been asking, because when I first left tech, I felt like everything had to be perfect. And all I could find were excuses to not do things because it wasn't perfect enough. And this process of becoming we go through as we shift in our life has really led me to question, like, what about mastery? What's the difference? And I realized that perfectionism tends to be, it's not good enough, a sense of control. It's very measured, and there's always dissatisfaction. What I realized with mastery is about how can I get really good at something. And for me, the underline is how can I also really enjoy it. And so that brings me to today, which is I started a content creation program to learn how to create videos and like good looking videos. My perfectionist tendencies have definitely shown up where I'm like, oh, the lighting's off, or oh, the angle's wrong, or oh, I'm trying to envision this, but I don't know how to do it. I can't post it, or I need to do this over and reshoot and reshoot and reshoot. But at the same time, I'm finding myself really loving the process of, I love learning, but like really loving the process of getting better, right? This process of mastery that over time and with practice, maybe one day I'll make like hella good videos where you're like watching, you're like, damn girl, you look good. Like everything's amazing, but I'm not there yet. And so this video was born from that. Essentially, what I'm going to start doing is creating videos that are fairly unedited, just me talking to you as if we're like hanging out at my place or at a cafe or going for a walk or whatever. To one, get better at speaking to the camera. It's super weird because I don't know who's watching this right now. And also just clarity, like how can I speak with more clarity and in a way that really maybe opens up ideas or new perspectives or ways for you to approach what you want to approach, right? My overarching goal in terms of what I want to create in this channel is how can you create a life where you wake up and you're like, I fucking love my life, especially on the hard days, right? We all have hard days, but there's something really beautiful about when we create a holistic life that supports us. We can thrive in work. We thrive outside of work. We've got all of these different dimensions of being. And so how do we do that? And I realized the first thing that I need to do is I need to let go of the perfectionism of having these like beautifully crafted videos, which I'm still going to work on. I'm going to put them out. They're just going to come out in a slower process. But also what I talk about, like with my clients, and as you'll see in like the Bolding and Bounding signature program that I'm slowly releasing on YouTube and Substack, is that it's about the adventure itself, right? We've got this treasure map of where we want to go, i.e. our like vision for our dream life, but really it's about like moment by moment. And by having videos like this come out, they're going to be about small topics. And I think we have so many imperceptible moments that we move through as we go towards a dream life that aren't caught, right? It's always like these milestones of like, I've achieved X job, or I've hit X amount in my bank account, or I've purchased a car or a house, or I've had a kid, or I don't know, I've developed this new skill. Like, they're very tangible, they're very visible. But what I'm realizing is it's really about like the day-to-day and the things that are coming up in our minds and how do we choose to move through them. And so really the goal of today's video, one, is to set up some accountability for myself, because I think posting multiple times a week, that's my goal. Like, I'm setting a pretty high bar that feels uncomfortable for me, is to post 2 to 3 times a week these videos, minimally edited, just talking to you. But it's also to start to uncover like the invisible pieces. And this really rang true to me like a few weeks ago when we lost the baby. I decided, part of it was cathartic, just like writing something, creating a video, putting it out there. But another piece for me was like, so many people move through this, and they move through it in silence, and they move through it with stigma and sometimes shame and a lot of guilt and mixed emotions. And I think when we create our dream lives, that's a difference, right? Like, this can be something that happens to you in the process, but like there are a lot of these small moments where we're really experiencing with internal struggles, or debating, or trying to decide, who do I want to become? And in these moments, it's easy to lean on the perfectionism piece and just do what's comfortable, stay in the same job, stay on the same life trajectory, do the same thing. But maybe it's more about, how can I let go of perfection and work towards mastery? And how can I do it in a way that feels good? So that's kind of the last part of the video, which is, how do I do it in a way that feels good? So I think, one, perfectionism, it's learning to let that go, and really learning how to recognize it first, because if we don't know we've got it, how do we let it go? And so for me, like, such an important piece, it has been like really getting to know my body. How does my body feel when I'm moving into that perfectionism state? A tightness in my chest, clenching in my jaw, waking up in the middle of the night with racing thoughts, always kind of being in problem-solving mode, only noticing the things that don't work. So I really connect into like, what is the state of the mind, but also what is the state of the body, and what is it speaking to me? And like taking a moment to slow down and really listen and understand. Mastery for me is a completely different state, and I found that it's inherently joyful. So it comes down to that question of, how can I really enjoy the process? And I've realized when I tap into this mastery level, I come at it from the lens of like being a little kid again, and there's tons of curiosity and awe and enjoyment and being silly and making mistakes. So like the other day when I was recording the cinematic version I'm working on right now for the starting point video, I was just like bouncing around and be like, blah, 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 blah. Like, this isn't working. And it just like loosened me up, and I could feel like kind of a lightness in my face, and like a warmth in my chest, and like a lightness in my overarching body. Whereas when I get focused on the perfectionism and filming, I struggle to speak, I stutter a lot. I stutter as in like, I just keep repeating, I can't get it out. And my body feels super tense. So I've really been looking at a little bit of that, of how do I acknowledge it in the body? How do I let it go, the perfectionism piece? And And then how do I move into mastery? So this like joy. And what I've done to help me let go, which I think is the bridge of between perfectionism, mastery, and enjoyment. The bridge is, how can I let go of expectation? Because I think it comes down to expectation. And so my husband asked me, this was like a couple months ago. He's like, I was telling him like, oh, do I want to go back into the people function? I'm not sure. Sometimes I think I should while I figure out what I'm doing with my brand. Which for me, it's not even a brand, I guess. It's just like how I want to contribute to the world. And he's like, well, what would you do if money didn't matter? Because I've worked my ass off over the last 10 years, made smart financial decisions that it gives us, at least for now, a runway where I can experiment a lot. And so one, I realized, okay, I still have money work to do. But secondly, I realized I would just create things that feel fun. I would learn stuff. I'll continue coaching because I love coaching, but I want to do a creation piece. I want to access a different side of my creativity outside of the landscape of how do you build an organization and culture, which that's super cool too, but it's a very different type. And then also unexpectedly, when I started this content creation program, I realized, wow, there's a lot of technical skills I don't know as well. And so really I could go in with this growth mindset or beginner mindset actually to just experience it. And so that's what I'm doing. So I guess that's really all I have to say for today. I'm going to be doing more of these consistently. We'll see what lands, what doesn't. If any of this resonated with you, add it in the comments. Or if questions come up for you, add them in the comments. Or if you're like, I'd love to see a topic on this because this is the thing that I'm like not sure what to do with as I move through kind of creating this dream life that I'm working towards, or y'all know that my bread and butter is really like connecting into the body and somatics and how we really access not just the mind but also the body and create a more effortless way to experience. Or maybe it's about like moving abroad. Like I've really been thinking a lot, like I want to open up all the lenses of the things that I talk about and have experience, because maybe it can provide a new idea for you or a new way to see it. And then we can just grow together. So that's what today is. So my call to action for you is start to get to know what perfectionism looks like in your body, how it feels, what's the state of your mind. Then start to think about mastery. And if you're not sure where to start with that, think about like when you were a kid and you loved doing something just for fun. Start to think about how you can do that, because the more we enjoy something and the more we spend time doing it, the better we get at it. And just start to play with that. And if you notice yourself getting stuck in that tendency of, oh, I need to make it perfect, take a moment to ask, what would make this more fun? Or how can I remove this expectation from myself? Or come watch this video again. Or maybe just do the thing anyway, like I'm doing now. And we'll see where that brings us. So I hope this is helpful. I will see you in the next one, and I hope you have a very wonderful rest of your day. Ciao, ciao.